Hey guys, Dazzler Magic here, and it's time for the final spoiler video, and we actually have 72 cards to go through, which I'm not going to do. I'm going to skip over a lot of the real basic stuff, a lot of the commons, a lot of the filler stuff, a lot of the draft staples, evolving wilds, that kind of stuff. I mean, it would be important to know, oh, Naturalize is in this set. Okay. But if you want to study the whole list to get really good at draft or sealed or something, you do you. I'm just going to cover the cool stuff. Speaking of that, let's start with Winter Thorn Blessing. So it's 2-cost green, blue. Yes, we all know I can't look at color symbols and name them. I don't know what's wrong with me. I think I have brain ligma. So anyway, it's a sorcery. Put a 1/1 counter on up to one target creature you control, tap up to one target creature you don't control, and that creature doesn't untap during its controller's next untap step, and then flashback 3s. So this is like a subtly hyper powerful card without being obnoxiously broken and unbeatable, because you get their best blocker out of the way, boost one of yours, and then you can almost definitely do it again, either the same turn or a different turn. I mean, if you had 5 mana kind of mid to late game, you could light this off twice, get rid of 2 of their blockers and swing for 2 higher, plus with everything else on your line. I mean, you could just win the game with this. Now compare this to the card Sleep, which is an abomination that never should have been ever printed. That's tap every single creature that your opponent controls. They don't untap during their next turn. So every blocker they have is gone for 2 turns. And then comma, I hope you don't lose the game. Haha, just kidding, you will. I despise that spell. So this is how you do this correctly. This will take a fairly even game and make it uneven, or a really close game, or getting approaching the end game, and this will be the killer. But it's only 1 creature and it's only 1 counter. But you can do a lot with it. So that's why I like it. It's very tactical. We need more spells like this. And also, by the way, it's sorcery speed, so they at least have time to react. Sort of. I mean, it's still your turn, but So next up, I think I didn't have this in the last spoilers. It's a Mythic Demon, 6/6 for 6 double black, flying trample. I don't know why they needed to put trample on it, but okay. And if you pay 1 black, sacrifice another creature, target player mills 3 cards. And then get this is wild. Pay 1 life, and then add 1 colorless mana to your mana pool. Spend this mana only to cast a spell from your graveyard. So, basically Phyrexian mana. The thing is, you still need to pay the non-generic part of the cost, the colored mana part of the cost. So in Standard, this is almost exclusively going to work with Flashback. I actually can't name anything it works with other than that. I'm sure there's something, though. So, I mean, it's kind of cool, but I didn't think black was the big Flashback color. I mean, that's kind of like a red-blue thing. I mean, it's probably not none, but this just seems weird. But man, I mean, we got that other one that gives every single card in your graveyard Flashback equivalent to its mana cost, which is ridiculous. And then we've got this. I mean, it would be hard to get all of them out, and this is a 6/6, and it's already a lightning rod because it's flying and trample. So, I mean, yeah, people are going to try to destroy this, and it's 0 actual, kill evasion. So, I mean, yeah, it's a hyper-powerful card. It's super good, but it has its limitations. It can only do so much. It's going to cost you if you really start cranking out the spells. But, 1 kill spell and it's gone. I mean, this is how you do a proper, powerful, good, high-end late-game card. Why can't they design all of them like this instead of double everything? So next up, we got Crossroads Candle Guide. It's a 4-cost artifact creature Scarecrow. When it enters the battlefield, exile up to 1 target card from a graveyard. So just nice graveyard clearing. I think this is mostly for draft because it's a 3/4 and then you pay 2 to add 1 mana color. A 2/1 filter. This isn't even a good card. Maybe in some kind of weird Artificer deck. I don't know, but I mean, this is just graveyard clearing for draft or sealed, so don't overlook this. Okay, clearing might not be the right word, but next up we got Silver Bolt. So it's a 1-cost artifact, not equipment though. You pay 3, sack it, or tap it and sack it, and then it deals 3 damage to target creature. If it's a werewolf, just straight up destroy it. Well, there you go. More proof that they knew werewolves were completely out of control and wanted people to do something about it. Unfortunately, giving people a slight counter to, a little bit of the strategy is not really the solution. Really just stop making it so OP that people need to react to it. Next up, we got Storm Skrillex. He's going to win the game with the power of dubstep. So it's 5-cost 2/4 Drake Horror. It's red and blue, and then it's flying. And then instant and sorcery spells you cast cost 1 less to cast because we needed more of that bullshit in the meta right now. Your spells are basically free if you're playing these 2 colors at this point, and you can cast them 3 or 4 times from out of your graveyard. So whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, it gets double prowess until end of turn, +2/+0. Great. At least it's a 5-cost 2/4 pathetically weak creature. But they basically gave it kind of almost storm, sort of. You cast 3 or 4 spells, you're just going to swing and kill them. 4 spells, you'd be at 10. I hate this. I hate the archetype. I hate the color combination. I hate Wizards of the Coast. Next up, we got Timberland Guide. It's a 2-cost 1/1 Human Scout, and when it enters the battlefield, put a 1/1 counter on target creature. I'm sure for flavor reasons, nobody would ever put a Human Scout in a werewolf deck, except that's exactly what they're going to do. Next up, Tapping at the Window. Well, it's a tree, though, so... I mean, the trees will probably kill you in Innistrad, too, but still. So, sorcery, 2-cost green spell. Look at the top 3 cards of your library. You may reveal a creature card from among them. Why doesn't it just say werewolf? Come on. And put it into your hand, put the rest in your graveyard, flashback 3. Well, that's no collected company or 6-cost mega collected super company, which they... put in this set, but it's useful. I mean, it'll keep it going. I honestly think like, okay, this is a really good spell, except there's like 3 better ones. Like there's 2 or 3 that just let you cast things straight off the top of your library an unlimited number of times. I mean, we got like the Druid or Ranger class or whatever. We got that new one, and there's like a 3rd one. I mean, geez, like green is going to be nuts. And then they get werewolves on top of it. Now the good werewolf cards are like green-red mix though, but I'm still very concerned about that deck. Real quick, we do have Plummet and Return to Nature in the set, so I just wanted to mention them. Then we got Path to the Festival. It's 3-cost sorcery. Search your library for a base land card. For 3 mana, it's not that great, but you do put it straight onto the battlefield tap, so okay. Then shuffle, obviously. Then if there are 3 or more basic land types among lands you control, scry 1. So they're going for this weird 5-color thing. They all just look like Tiamat deck supplements to me. I think one of them was literally a dragon, but... then we've got this. I mean, still, like, seriously, scry 1 does have flashback 5, so you can do it a second time. That puts it about on par with the best landfall trigger fetcher things that we have right now, so not bad. Skipping quite a few here because they're just not interesting with this one is. It's a 3/1 for 2 Harvesttide Sentry, and Human Warrior, and then Coven at the beginning of combat. You know what it does. Harvesttide Sentry can't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or less. Nice. So... pretty hard to pull off Coven, in my opinion. I mean, it might seem easy until somebody has a kill spell. But a semi-unblockable 3/1 for 2, yeah, it's just, are you actually going to have this on turn 3? Probably, or I mean, Coven on turn 3? Probably not. Next up, through this in, because I think it's the first equipment we've actually seen. It's Bramble Armor. 2-cost green equipment, nice. I just love that artwork and the concept, because that actually looks like old Russian bear hunting armor. Look it up, it's amazing. But yeah, when it enters battlefield, attach it for free, so that's bullshit, and they need to stop doing that. It's completely broken. And then, oh look, you get +2/+1, but equip is 4. So you get 1 free equip, and then after that, it is ridiculously overpriced. Like, what is that? Who thought that that combination was some hot shit all of a sudden? Because it's really doing messed up things to the game. I don't know if you guys have seen, like, the equip-heavy double strike decks and stuff, but it's pretty messed up. And I think they nerfed it, or that's what they thought they were doing, to make the deck weaker, but they really just made it faster. And it's, like, all in, and then 1 kill spell, and they just forfeit. So, pretty stupid, ape intelligence deck. So yeah, this is trash, but that's what they're doing lately. So I hate it. Next up, Bounding Wolf. It's Flash and Reach. That's right. The werewolf deck now has 2 reachers, and this one is an instant speed ambush. 3/2 for 3. It's getting ridiculous. They are literally slivers. Skipping over just a generic flippy boy werewolf with vigilance, and then a flippy boy werewolf with trample, both pretty low cost. Then we've got Volderan Stinger. It's a 1-cost 1/1 vampire warrior, and they have first strike as long as they're attacking. I always did like that because on defense it's much more powerful. And then if you pay 3, it gets +2/+0 until end of turn. Oh, wait, this is an exact reprint to that dog. Well, kick me in the balls and call me Cheryl. I like Fearless Pupper better than crazy goth chick who just dropped acid at the rave. We've all seen that face. Okay, we've seen it. Next up, Stolen Vitality. It's a 2-cost instant, and you need to back the hell up off that camera, bro. You're way too close. You're too close, man. Damien, best Magic player ever. It's not Damien, it's Damien. So, of course, since it's Innistrad, we get an instant 2-cost that's +3/+1. And if you use it defensively, okay, but if it's your turn, it also gains Trample. Damn. But defensively, if it's not your turn, I should say, it gets First Strike. This is insane. This is like Sure Strike on steroids. But I mean, we had a lot of this in the last time we were in Innistrad, the whole block really. And I got some mileage out of it, I'll tell you that. So yeah, don't overlook this. This is crazy. Like, this is a draft killer. Next up, Raise the Effigy. That'll send the message to the wolves. Burn a giant 50-foot wooden effigy. Honestly, you probably could have used that wood for fuel. And, the time building it, you probably could have built weapons, but they think they're gonna dance their way to some kind of magic or some bullshit. I don't know. I really gotta read this story. It's way funnier if I just make it up as I go. You know, I could just read the flavor text. The folk of Keswick built up their courage by burning effigies of the things they fear. Okay, so it's... No, they're not the people dancing around trying to resurrect the old gods. They're just like, oh, courage. Well, courage and a sharp stick will get you a little further than just, look, we lit a werewolf on fire. I think the smoke and the light just let the werewolves know where they were, really. But anyway, apparently it got results because choose one, destroy target artifact, because we all know that werewolves use artifacts, or... I'm telling you, the lore doesn't match up on some of these cards. This ain't the first one. Target attacking creature gets +2/+2 until end of turn. And the ultra irony is anybody with a brain will run this in a werewolf deck. Next up, Pax Betrayal. Oh no, they left Ireland to join, I don't know, T-Pain, T-Money. Was it like Torvald or something? I remember it sounds like Linus Torvald. That's why I remember it, except I don't remember it. Well, if we're going to put a bunch of obnoxious dickish mechanics in the set, we might as well put in a Stealer spell. So it's a 3-cost red sorcery. Gain control of target creature until end of turn. Untap the creature. It gains haste if you control a werewolf. Yes, a werewolf. Werewolf. Then scry 2. Great. Anyone else playing 2022 or Standard currently really sick to their ass of getting their shit stolen? And somehow you never get it back for some reason. Oh, it's Tovalar. It says so right on the bottom. Just realized that. Anyway, all right, skipping a bunch of boring vampires because they crippled them because Crimson Vow. We've got a 2-cost 2/2 wolf, and if you pay 4, which is kind of steep, but still, target creature can't block this turn. So let me think. The wolves now have double strike, trample, reach, flash, pseudo unblockable. Yeah, they're slivers. Next up, Moonrager Slash. It's a 3-cost, but it costs 2 less to cast if it's night, which it is, because werewolves. Moonrager Slash deals 3 damage to any target, so we've got another literal lightning bolt as long as they're running the worst deck, the most egregiously overpowered deck in the set. Wow, what a strict limitation. Next up, this isn't even a good spell, it's basically draft garbage, but I just wanted to include it because werewolves are very flammable. That's their main weakness. Yeah, I mean, for 5 in red as an instant, you can do 5 damage to a creature and 2 to its controller. Damn, and then you exile it, because it ain't coming back. You ain't gonna resurrect a pile of ashes as a zombie. Next up, oh, this one will piss you off. So even if you thought you could chump block or stop the werewolves for a turn, now we've got Abandon the Post. 2-cost sorcery, up to 2 target creatures, no limit, no size limit, no nothing. Can't block this turn, flashback 4. Yeah, this card and werewolves. Next up, apparently they're parodying American Gothic, the famous painting, with Rotten Reunion. It's a 1-cost black instant, which is fairly significant. Exile up to 1 target card from a graveyard, including your opponent's. That's why this is, like, huge. Create a 2/2 black zombie creature token with Decayed, and then flashback 2. I mean, this is, like, really actually good. You can get a lot done with this. Next up, we've got Olivia's Midnight Ambush. It doesn't look like she's fighting werewolves, so I guess the vampires are just that big of assholes. In fact, the flavor text confirms it. It says, and you were almost finished with that ritual, weren't you, darling? How very rude of me. To make it up to you, I'll send you an invitation to my wedding. Oh, good. She ruins the ritual. Does she know that she needs humans to still be alive? Does she know that? What a dumb bitch. Anyway, target creature gets -2/-2 until end of turn. If it's night, it's -13, -13. Well, you side with the werewolves, and I hope they kill you at your own wedding, you stupid, dirty vampire bitch. Next up, we've got another Mind Rot clone. Oh, good, because we needed that. By the way, people are not going to run this. They're going to run the one that clears your entire graveyard. It says target opponent discards 2, and then this one says create a 2/2 black zombie creature dog with Decayed. The other one I'm talking about says nuke their entire graveyard into exile. I wonder which one people are going to select. I don't want any of them to be legal. I'm sick of this stupid effect, but I really don't like hand disruption and discards that are 2 mana or less. So this one's almost tolerable, but I probably wanted to cast those spells. So, like, keep your hands off my fucking creatures and keep your hands out of my fucking hand. Seriously. Why does Wizards think that anybody is okay with this shit? So next up, very interesting card. I mean, it's not too nuts, except that it's in the common slot. It's a 5-cost 7/6, but then additionally, you need to sack a creature or pay 2 more. But it has Menace. Next up, oh good, turn 1 hand disruption, duress, great. You too. Next up, a very annoying card because it only costs 1. It's a black sorcery. Return target creature card, no limit on size or anything, doesn't even have to be black, doesn't have to be a certain type. from your graveyard straight to your hand, and then put a 1/1 counter on up to one target zombie you control, and then flashback 4 because once wasn't enough. So think of the worst possible thing, maybe Ormondal, except that you gotta flip into him. Maybe that flying 6/6 demon, you finally managed to kill it, and then, 1 mana, he's back. Not straight to the battlefield, they still have to cast him again, but if they cast him once, they can probably get away with it twice. So then you kill it again, after almost dying, and then, 4, I'll just bring him back again. The graveyard is the graveyard for a reason. You are gonna have to clear the shit out of the graveyard about every 5 turns, no matter what your opponent's playing, and that is gonna get so fucking annoying. Alright, skipping over some boring black werewolves and an extremely weak flying hippogriff, we've got a homunculus. Oh boy, people love those. So it's a 2/1 for 2, and tap it, add 1 blue, spend this mana only to pay a disturb cost or to cast an instant or sorcery spell, which includes flashback from your graveyard, by the way. Yeah, blue mana dorks are kind of crap, but it is a homunculus. Next up, we finally got a little bit of early game reinforcements here that'll get big with a disturb deck, which I still think is incredibly weak. It's like 1/3 the power of werewolves. When Shipwreck Sifter enters the battlefield, draw a card, then discard a card. It's a 2-cost blue 1/2, by the way. And then whenever you discard a spirit card or a card with disturb, put a 1/1 counter on Shipwreck Sifters. But you have to discard it, not get it killed, though, which is kind of weird. But I think this disturb thing is just buying time until you can just mill something into your graveyard and then resurrect it that isn't a spirit, obviously, like something better. And I think that's why it looks so weak, but it does sound like a functional deck. And if you don't believe me, we've got turn 1 Graveyard Packer. Otherworldly Gaze, cost 1, blue instant. Look at the top 3 cards of your library, put any number of them into your graveyard, and the rest back on top of your library in case you actually want them, and then flashback 2. That'll load her up pretty quick with disturb and stuff to res later. Next up, we've got just an all-around interesting card. Because of the artwork, the flavor text, pretty much everything. And it's a good card. So we got Geist Wave. It's a 2-cost blue instant. Return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. Okay, annoying. Kind of hate that divide by 0 crap that people are playing right now just to stall until they can get out of Faceless Haven and the 7/7 Storm Giant Manland. I honestly cannot stand that deck. But assuming Wizards does something about that, yeah, we can go ahead and assume that. Then, okay, this is cool. So, if you controlled that permanent, draw a card. So, in other words, if it's one of yours, or I guess if they mind controlled it, then you bounced it back to hand, because that's how that works. Then you get a replacement card out of it. So, that's kind of nice. So, it's like save your thing, get a card, and bounce theirs, don't get a card. But that artwork, you can see she like fired it off and then crashed through like a fence or something, or like a shed or a barn. That's why you always plant your back feet. And don't wear weird heeled boots into battle, you weirdo. But then also the flavor text is Necro Alchemists gained popular support during the Travails when Geist-fueled weapons helped defend towns against mad cultists and Eldrazi monstrosities. So they load up a ghost in the little thing and then fire it at the enemies. If it was good enough to take down the Eldrazi and their monstrosities, is good enough to take down werewolves and blast your ass through a fence. Next up, what the hell kind of Courage the Cowardly Dog shit is this? Falcon Abomination, that's about right. Holy actual So it's a zombie bird. What was your first hint? 3 cost 2/2, flying. This is why everyone just needs to leave the plane or build like an Attack on Titan city and just keep all this crazy shit out. All these little scattered, poorly defended towns with Cathars. No, you need to centralize your power and then just spread out. Like all the humans and all the good white aligned people need to like go after all the dark aligned magic and like necro crap and witches and demons and vampires and wipe them all out. Just like focus your power, circle the wagons around the outside farms outside the city, and then just strike with big army strike forces and take them out one at a time. I'm telling you, they need to promote me to head general of Innistrad. I will clean up the streets. Des for Innistrad 2024. Anyway, when it enters the battlefield, it's a 2/2. Create a 2/2 black zombie creature token. Wow, that's boring. And oh lordy, it says the foulest of foul for the flavor text. Next up, we got a very odd card here. It's Devious Cover-Up. And either I'm missing something here, or this has to be a 40-card deck, sealed or draft card exclusively, because this is a 4-cost universal counterspell, so that's already just garbage. And then, if the spell is countered this way, exile it, cool, and then you may shuffle up to 4 target cards from your graveyard into your library. Why would you graveyard clear yourself? Especially in blue, the whole I'm milling myself out so I can resurrect something and then blah 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 something zombies. So this has to be just, oh, you killed my most powerful spell. Well, you're probably going to see it again. Oh, my big bad mythic creature, went away. Well, now I have a shot at pulling it from my library again. I don't know. I don't see any other use for this. Otherwise, just run cancel. Next up, an unusually effective anti-werewolf card. It's Component Collector, another homunculus. A 1/4 for 3, so you can soak up some attacks from the absolute weakest of the werewolves, because they pretty much start at 4. But if it's neither day nor night, it becomes day, so there you go. And then whenever day-night flips, you may tap or untap target non-land permanent. So, I mean, right off the bat, in response to this trigger, tap a land for mana, and then it will untap. You could untap it, then tap for mana again, tap the whole thing, cast an instant speed spell. You could do the same on their turn, but, I mean, it would have to be, like, not a counter spell, because they wouldn't be dumb enough to put a spell on the stack on top of this trigger. But they could flip it to night, and you're like, okay, I'll tap one of your werewolves. Oh, okay, I'll untap my Death Toucher. I don't know if this little guy's going to save you from werewolves single-handedly, but it's, it's a weapon. Next up, we have a very interesting card, Homestead Courage. It's a 1-cost white sorcery with put a 1/1 counter on target creature you control, gains vigilance until end of turn, so that's huge. And then flashback 1. So you can do this twice at the time of your choosing. Now, they obviously did make it instant speed because that would be ridiculous. So it's not much of an ambush, but my god, you could make something, 2 counters bigger for 2 mana, split modularly where you can do it right in a row, or split turns if you are short on mana. I mean, this is like an amazing card. Then you get Vigilance on top of it. Plus, it's in the color that has the highest life gain. I mean, seriously, do not overlook this card. This is actually, like, really good. Well, I'm skipping over an awful lot of just filler, jank, common, trash white humans. Boy, that is just not going well for them. Next up, we have another insane card that's in the common slot, so this might make draft a little more interesting, although really everybody's just going to draft werewolves and win. But Cathar Commando, it's a 2-cost 3/1, so we're already right, where we need to be for a powerful turn 2 card. Then it has Flash, which that's hilarious. They swing with something, some little mana dork, just trying to get that 1 extra damage in. Boom, flash it in, suicide, kill it. But wait, there's more. If you pay 1, sacrifice Cathar Commando, destroy target artifact or enchantment. That, right now in the 2022 format, is very badly needed, mostly because of the class enchantments, but also Skeletal Swarming, there's a couple others. Tergrid's stupid freaking lantern, that piece of shit. So this is like one of the most important cards in the set, which is funny because it's a basic common 3/1 for 2. But see, people overlook them. They're like, no, I want to run the mythic power cards. Well, this is a power card. This is like basically a Swiss Army knife with a freshly sharpened blade. It's a 3/1 for 2 with Flash, so it's basically a creature, a blitz creature. It's a instant speed kill spell, basically, and it's an artifact or enchantment remover. For 2 mana, that's insane. Next up, really good spell here. It might even be a reprint. Blessed Defiance. It's a 1-cost white instant. Target creature you control gets +2/+0 and gains lifelink until end of turn. And when that creature dies this turn, create a... It should say if that creature dies this turn, but whatever. We'll create a 1/1 white spirit creature token with flying. So you gain a bunch of life and still have a chump blocker. Really, really good spell, especially in draft. Although it doesn't really keep your... creature totally alive, but if it's just some vanilla jank, which, I skipped over more than a couple of those in white, all these common slot ambushes are just gonna wreck. Next up, we have an absolutely insane card. I actually can't believe they did this. It's Cathar's Call, so it's a 3-cost aura. You have to enchant a creature. I would strongly suggest an indestructible or hexproof one. Thank God they haven't printed too many of those lately. And then enchanted creature has vigilance, and no matter what happens at the beginning of your end step, create a 1/1 white human creature token. So you get a free 1/1 and an ETB trigger and possibly a death trigger, possibly a human-based tribal boost, just whatever, for doing nothing but not getting that creature killed. I actually like that they made this an aura. I'd be pissed if this thing was a regular enchantment, because then you'd have to just remove it with enchantment removal, which there are entire colors in the game that can't do that. Up until recently, now there's only one, but still. So not only could somebody hit this with enchantment removal, but whatever creature it's on, they could, in theory, destroy that. And then you lose your little generator. So it's high risk, high reward, just like any aura, but I still think this is kind of OP. Just anytime you get a free token, a free card, or free life for doing absolutely nothing, or a free counter, Luminarch Aspirant, it usually ends up being horribly overpowered and completely broken. So I'm not really feeling this one, but I can appreciate that it is a risk to play it, and you might lose 2 cards when they use 1 card to remove it. Next up, we have another pretty wacky white card. It's Lunarch, not Luminarch, which we have Luminarch Aspirant, so that's weird, from a different plane. But Lunarch Veteran, it's a 1/1 for 1. And whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, you gain 1 life, and then disturb 2. The Spirit version is a 1/1 flyer, and whenever another creature you control leaves the battlefield for any reason, except phasing. So you bounce it, flicker it, get it killed, whatever. Now I gain 1 life for that. And now you could have like 2 of these out and 2 of the other guy on the other side, maybe. I mean, that's a bit of a stretch, but you could. And then get that human token generator. Like, holy crap. I mean, obviously that's still like garbage compared to, oh, look, an 8/8 double strike trampling werewolf on turn 4. But I mean, you mix this with like, life gain triggers, the cleric class, the, paladin class, and all these like pseudo Johnny's Pride Mate and Luminarch Aspirant. Why the hell not get free counters for sitting on your ass doing absolutely nothing? Yeah, you've got a badass army here. So yeah, I guess don't underestimate the mono white humans. And finally, that is it. So I skipped over a bunch of just, vanilla, blah, jank, whatever. Just, oh, look, a werewolf with vigilance. Oh, look, another one. Just draft filler crap that wouldn't be your first go-to for a constructed deck. But yeah, I mean, overall, I think you know what I feel about this set already. It's weird. I don't really like any of the mechanics. I don't like the overall feel and how they come together. I don't think it's the right time to add stuff like this to the meta either, even post-rotation, because I've been playing 2022 obsessively. And it really just took the 2 biggest decks in the format right now and made them better. And then you've got Werewolves, which is going to be another obnoxious tier 1. So I don't like the way the direction the game is going with this. And remember, this is the first set post-rotation, the one you want to get right. The one where you at least want to give people 12 damn weeks to play the game before you break it worse. And this is what we got, which is mono white life gain angel boost. Great. And broken werewolf blitz that they won't do anything about for at least a whole nother set. So I'm not looking forward to this at all. Not one single bit. And they are going to have to start banning 2 or 3 or 4 cards like the get to 35 angel, the +2/+2 angel, and the, I think, cleric class. They'd have to ban all 3 of those and maybe Luminarch Aspirant to bring mono white back down to where it should be, because it is an unstoppable, unbeatable deck right now. We also in the 2022 queue, this is more of a thing this week that just developed. It's an all control, obviously Faceless Haven and Crawling Barrens deck, because manlands are aids. It runs the 7/7 Frost Giant land. So it controls your shit. You can't hit anything they have. And then they attack you on their turn, then duck back into their line of lands. And no, Field of Ruin is going to save you. You aren't going to pull it enough. And yeah, the rest is just counterspell, bounce, board wipe, and then they, some people run Planeswalkers on top of it. Some people run nothing on top of it and just win with the damn lands. That's annoying. But yeah, it's just, you do something, they undo it. You do something, they counter it. You do something, they blow it up. You do something, they board wipe. You can't even play your fucking deck. So the set's not even out, and the pre-rotated shit on Arena is right now just cancer. Like, it's terrible. And like I said, there's about 8 to 10 cards that need to be banned immediately. Urgently. And even, Red Goblin Rush is absolutely terrible. I haven't seen it much. I assume they just out-leveled me. They're just in a higher rank than me, and so that's why I haven't seen them. Or people got bored with it. Or people adapted to it. In any way, it should be banned anyway. We shouldn't have to play around fast, blitzy shit. It eliminates any kind of deck creativity for the mid-range and for the like, high-end advanced strategies. So, if you just want a stupid drag race, play Modern, play Legacy, play Vintage. I want to play Magic. I want to play my deck I built. And my deck has some things that cost 4 in it, unlike yours. So, your stupid deck. That's my philosophy. I don't think Wizards' ban announcements have indicated that they have that philosophy. But if they actually prioritize fun, fairness, good meta, and, watch it and react twice as quickly, we might actually see something. But I have zero confidence. Dead ass zero confidence that they will do anything to make this year full of Standard any better than the last 2. So on that rosy note, thanks for watching, everybody, and I'll see you guys next time.